crux of this challenge is doing something complicated and difficult at the same time as dealing with ambiguity, imperfect information, and trying to make decisions based on that. And that challenge has existed for a long time. System. It's an example of a system where more data collection gets you to a better answer. In ambiguous situations, where you can never have perfect information, more data doesn't always help. There's a hygiene level. There's a level that you need enough. But the CIA have done some interesting research on this, and what they concluded was there are 3 aspects to a complex piece of analysis. There's data collection, there's the analytical methodology, and there's how we think about it. And what they realized was more data didn't always help. It made the analysts more confident, but didn't actually improve the quality of the decision. So it made them confident for better or worse. The analytical methodologies were normally quite good. The single biggest limiting factor they found with highly ambiguous, difficult situations was our ability to deal with the data, the way we think about the problem in the first place. And we are spectacularly bad at this thinking about thinking. Our judgment, when we're faced with ambiguity and imperfect information, is really often quite weak. It's a very challenging thing to do to have good judgment. What our competitors will do when we launch a product. We don't know how the market will react. We didn't predict Trump, Brexit, the UK election. All these variables are all massively outside of our control, and we tend to make an awful lot of assumptions about how other people will help, how other people will react. So what we're trying to do here is to deliver in this sort of fast-moving, ambiguous environment is to stress test our own thinking. We're going to have to make assumptions, but are they the right assumptions? Because we get quite wedded to our own brilliance, often. And then you need to decide how you're going to work. Which one would you prefer? Alignment, brilliant process, everybody on the same page, all singing from the same sheet, or autonomy, completely dispersed and fully empowered? Somebody said it, is both. My argument to you is that these do not happen in parallel. They happen in sequence. You have to have alignment before you have autonomy. If you try and go for them both at the same time, actually what you get is chaos. You see the people like special forces, these guys running around doing all this crazy stuff, answering to nobody. They've spent years being drilled into a systematic way of doing business before they get set free. The CEO of an engineering company came up with a great one-liner to me on this he said, you earn the right to deviate from SOPs. And certainly that's my experience of high performance in a military environment. Before you set people free to do the really crazy, inspired stuff, they need to be all coming from the same system. That's not a narrow way of thinking about it. You're not constraining them. It's not what makes you inflexible. It's what makes you flexible, because it frees up your brain power for the planning with ambiguity, which is what we have all the time. The key is often not more data and not a better methodology. It's actually your own thinking. Think about the thinking. Teamwork doesn't happen by accidents. Right people, right setup, incentivized in the right way. And high-performance organizations are learning organizations.